How's it going, guys? So today we are going to be doing our top 25 players in the NBA this season.
Regardless of position, just top 25 who we think are the best.
Right. Yep, that is an important point to make. We are just going to be doing 25. This is almost nothing to do with our top 5 videos. Kind of. It's a weird way of looking at it because it is literally who's a better basketball player is how we looked at our top 25.
Right.
So, starting at 25, all the way to 21, we have Rudy Gay at 25, Gordon Hayward at 24, Klay Thompson at 23, Chris Bosh at 22, and Damian Lillard at 21.
I think the most interesting player there is Damian Lillard at 21. Him and LaMarcus Aldridge were kind of fighting for alpha dog status in Portland before LaMarcus went over to San Antonio. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Damian can take over this team and if he can keep them a playoff team, even though they lost LaMarcus, Batum, Wesley Matthews. They lost a lot there.
That team is going to be nowhere near the playoffs. That team's going to be just as far away from the playoffs as the 76ers.
Wow, you think so?
Yeah.
You think they'll be that bad?
Yes.
I think it'll be tough because they play in the West, but I think that Damian will still play excellent, and I think he'll keep them competitive.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. They're a much better team than the Sixers, but they're also the Sixers in the West.
Okay, true.
That's my kind of comparison.
Fair enough.
They have way more talent, I would say, than even the Sixers do.
Yeah.
Even though the Sixers have been hoarding all this talent the past few years, and it still hasn't happened. I would say if you're a Sixers fan, wait one more year. I think it will happen. But the Trailblazers got all these guys like Aminu and Plumlee and I mean Leonard is even good and C.J. McCollum. They got all these interesting young pieces,
Right.
but they're a couple years away at this point. So Lillard's gonna have a tough time this year adjusting, but I think he'll still be a solid player.
Okay, so now moving on, going from 20 to 16. At number 20, we have Draymond Green. Number 19, Tim Duncan. Number 18, Kyrie Irving. And number 17, John Wall. And number 16, Mike Conley.
Right. I mean, two interesting players right there. I mean, you got Draymond Green, the all-world role player.
Yeah.
And then you have Uncle Drew, Kyrie Irving,
Right.
who's known for his dribbling fanatics and his ability to get around players.
And inability to stay healthy.
And inability to stay healthy, which is a reason why he was left off of our top 5 point guards. But he still makes the list. You can see, based off of this list, how close he was in the top 5 point guards. I mean, he's right behind John Wall and Conley, who are 4 and 5 there.
Yeah, and we did put him ahead of... Excuse me, sorry. I was going to say Oladipo, but Oladipo was shooting guard.
Shooting guard, right,
My mistake.
All right, so going into our 15 through 11 players. At 15, we have Marc Gasol. At 14, we have Carmelo Anthony. At 13, we have LaMarcus Aldridge. At 12, we have Jimmy Butler. And at 11, we have DeMarcus Boogie Cousins.
Right, and you'll see that the highest rated center we have is 11 with Boogie Cousins, our number 1 center on our top 5 centers. We also have Marc Gasol there at 15. Clearly, the center position is one of the weaker positions in the NBA, probably the weakest in terms of overall depth, which I think is kind of interesting because Dwight Howard, not too long ago, was so dominant. He was a top 5 player, and now to see him completely fall off and just the center position as a whole completely fall off.
Right, just to follow up on that, I mean, since the days, like, all the way back in the NBA, you had Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, and there's always been great centers. I mean, through Shaq, I would say was the last great center.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, Dwight Howard was
not quite
projected,
that level,
but it just never really
materialized.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little weird position. I mean, today's center in the NBA is a defensive shot blocker who rebounds well and sets screens.
Yeah,
they're not really
focal points of offense like they used to be.
Yeah, and I mean, even in the last series with the Warriors and the Cavs, they eliminated the center position.
Essentially, yeah, you had Draymond Green playing center for most of the game.
Right, so just weird development in terms of how the league turns over. I mean, it's more of a point guard driven league these days.
Right. Okay, now moving on, getting into our top 10 here. At number 10, we have Blake Griffin. Number 9, Paul George. Number 8, Kawhi Leonard. Number 7, Chris Paul. And number 6, James Harden.
Right. I mean, this is a great list of players.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can definitely see where this list went from good players from 25 to 11, really.
Yeah.
To these great make your team
Tier
players.
1 superstars, yeah.
I mean, Cousins is close, and I think he could get there.
But I think being on Sacramento does hurt him.
It definitely does hurt him.
It's a team still without direction. And I do want to add quickly about Paul George being at 9, even though we had him at number 5 at power forward. As you said before, this is a list of just player, kind of regardless of position.
Right.
Paul George is an absolutely phenomenal player, and even if he played, we put him at top 5 or at number 5 in power forward because we're not sure how he'll play as a power forward, but as a small forward, shooting guard,
whatever position
he is, he is just a great player, and he rebounded well from injury. We're going to see how he plays this year, but he's just a phenomenal player.
Right. I mean, part of the reason we put in that emphasis in the beginning was Paul George.
Right.
I mean, he is a great player, like you said. Just looking at a couple guys on this section of our list, I mean, Kawhi Leonard at number 8, people may think is a bit high, considering, I mean, we have him ranked as the highest player on the Spurs. I don't know if other people would necessarily say that. But I think if you look at that Spurs team, they go as he goes, and he's only going to become more important. I mean, the guy is only like 23 years old, which is bizarre because
very young.
You've been seeing him play already, in the playoffs, deep in these runs with the Spurs for like several years now.
Yeah.
So you don't realize how young he is and how truly great he can be. And when a guy like Greg Popovich says that he's probably going to become like a top 5 player, top 10 player in the league, we got to take note of that, and that's what he's become.
Yeah. So all right. Now, sorry.
At number 5 in our top 5 players now, we have number 5, Russell Westbrook, number 4, Kevin Durant, number 3, Stephen Curry, number 2, Anthony Davis, and obviously number 1, LeBron James.
Yeah, I think this is a list that most people probably wouldn't disagree with as in terms of who's in the top 5. You might disagree with our placing, but I think that LeBron obviously has to be number 1. He's consistently the best player in the league night after night. Anthony Davis, we mentioned before, he might contend for that crown, but Anthony Davis is not quite there yet. He's still an absolute beast. He's still very young. Curry is Curry. He was the season MVP. He's getting to be more consistent now that he's gotten over the injuries. He's won the championship with Golden State. And then finally at 4 and 5, you have the 2 OKC superstars in Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. If Durant rebounds from injury, he could go even higher than 4 possibly. He could surpass a Curry or maybe even a Davis if he plays like he did in 2013 where he was healthy.
Right. I mean, the key thing to me with these top 5 guys is at any one time, they could be the best player.
Absolutely, in a particular night.
And I don't think there's anyone else on our list that you can say that about in a particular night. I mean, those guys can take over a game. I mean, Westbrook took over a month.
Yeah.
They're just spectacular players. This is our top 25 list, guys. Let us know what you think. I mean, we put in a good amount of work ranking these players. We really do think these are the top 25 guys going into the season. Please subscribe. We want to keep giving you guys great content, and thank you for listening.